lot of emotions has come out of the last 48 hours in South Africa, and a lot of people have posted videos, and we've seen things are wrong, and some of the things that I want to highlight that are wrong, and then maybe come to some kind of a solution. It's wrong. It is wrong to burn and loot. It is wrong to burn down universities. It's wrong to burn down schools. It is wrong to display the old South African flag. It is wrong for us to just ransack and loot as we go along. It is wrong to threaten people. It is wrong to put on posts that you're going to annihilate a certain race group. These things are wrong. It is wrong that our children are dying on the Cape Flats. It is wrong. It is wrong. We can't suddenly say, okay, one murder is more pertinent than another murder. It is wrong. What is the solutions? We are run by a government of criminals. The new book by Jacques Poe, The President's Keeper, clearly states, and Jacques Poe is a well-respected, very well-respected investigative journalist. The mainstream media are not telling us the truth, what is happening. The mainstream media are very selective, because look who owns the mainstream media. What do we need to do? We need to get Zuma and his cronies and his criminals have captured this country in such a way that those who want water, sanitation, houses must go and find their money in Dubai. Their money is overseas. The cigarette smuggler, where is that money? Where has it gone to? It's been taken from the poor people. It's been taken from us who are paying taxes and spread out across Guma, Gupta, Zuma, whatever you want to call it, his cronies. Our police force are not properly trained. So the decay has started from the top. Zuma is sitting pretty in the union buildings. What has happened in this country, everyone is focused on Nkandla. The 250 million rand of Nkandla does not come near to what has been spent, stolen in this country and wasted in this country. The Nkandla saga was the eye blind. We've been going for 8 years in the High Court, Supreme Court. We've been going in the Constitutional Court to get the spy tapes. We claim that it's a victory to get the spy tapes. We don't need spy tapes because we all know the corruption. We don't need a court to run our country. The Constitutional Court runs South Africa. We do not have a president of a caliber of a man. What do we need in this country, in my opinion? In my opinion, we need a leader. We need a leader that is going to lead from the front and have his principles in order, that he does not compromise for one group or for another. If we want to be equal, we have to be equal in everything. If my daughter gets a university exemption, she must be allowed to get a university exemption, and she must be allowed to apply for a job as the same as any other person from any other race group gets to apply for a job. We can't be in a situation where people are crying out for homes, people are crying out for sanitation, people are crying out that they are still using drop toilets. That shouldn't be happening. But why not does the mainstream media inform the people that with all the billions that has gone wrong and stolen in this country, that could have been provided? Everyone is now getting their point about that we must come together, and I believe there's another march on the 25th of November. What is this march doing? These marches are now going to stir up emotions. When we march, we should march like they did in Catalonia. Take over the country. Stay on the streets until we have government change. You don't have to get violent, but are we united enough to stay on the streets? Is every political party and race group in this country prepared to say that Zuma is a criminal, Zuma is a crook, Zuma has stolen billions from our country? Then we can go forward. We have to go forward with a leader who allows his people from a different party or from his own party to play the game properly, to speak with their conscience. They're not allowed to vote with their conscience. One party goes to the Constitutional Court to get the ANC to vote with their conscience. Then you have the same thing in a metro in Port Elizabeth, and what happens? They oppose people to vote for their conscience. They can't have double sides of the barrel here, man. People need to start speaking, and what is happening is good people are staying silent. We are never going to be remembered for the evils of man. We're never going to be remembered by the evils of man, or the evil, what man did to our country. But what we are going to be remembered by are the silence of our friends. Why don't we as a nation rise up and say, okay, this is what the problem is. We have to root out the corruption. We have to root out corruption in the police force. We have to make sure that our children do not become addicted at the age of 7. We have to make sure that our kids aren't killed at the age of 3 etc., on the Cape Flats and start uniting a nation. But unfortunately, in my opinion, we do not have that leader yet to unite this nation. Because the leader is leading because he wants power. We see what is happening in the Western Cape as well. There is such a race for power in the Western Cape, which is meant to be the beacon of hope for South Africa. But it's a leadership battle where 17 votes decide who wants to be the leader. Surely you've got factions, just like the ANC has got factions. South Africa, every other party has got factions. What people are talking around, and politicians, what people are talking about around dinner tables is not what they are saying on public platforms. They are not saying it. And I know that because I've sat around dinner tables with people. But what we need when we come to our people, the next generation that is coming on, the next generation is the most important generation because we'll be long gone. We'll have to go answer for all our sins, for every one of our sins. But while we're on this earth, we can make a difference. We can make a plan for people. But we, again, and I say this so many times, again, we need a leader to stand up who's prepared to stand up and say enough is enough. People follow me. This is my agenda. You can't say there's 100 or 50% unemployment in this country when there is a lot of jobs available, but they are being screwed by people who are stealing the billions. So we ask ourselves, as we sit here on a day after tremendous emotions, was the march worth it? I say yes, it was worth it to raise for the farm murders. But it must be for all crime. It must be for the lady who gets attacked in her home. It must be for the granny who walks across the street. It must be for the 141 people killed in Gauteng by the Gauteng government who suffered from mental illness. We must look at the broader picture here. I wish a leader would rise up in this nation. A leader that would carry this nation forward. A leader that will stand that this is the way we're going to do it. This is our way we're going to stand strong. This is the negotiables. This is the non-negotiables. The day we get that leader, our country will flourish again. Our country will not flourish again for the white minority or for the Indian minority or for the colored minority. The country will flourish for everyone. That is the call today. That is our call out to South Africa. South Africa, let's unite. It's easy to say, but let's unite and let's put personal agendas aside and let's get the dream back. South Africa in 1994 had a dream. We had a dream, and when we thought we won the World Cup, we thought the dream was complete. That was only the stepping stone to say that we can unite. So let's get these emotions aside. Let's find a leader. And more importantly, I want to close this little video off with, which is totally unscripted, unprepared. It is coming straight out of my head without notes or without thinking what I'm going to say. I just sat down here and we've recorded it. We need the church. We need the faith-based organizations to stand up. We need religious leaders to stand up and take a firm stand. Where are our religious leaders? Where is the church? Why has the church become so silent? The church was one of the main liberators of this country. Does anyone remember the name of Dr. Desmond Tutu? Does anyone remember Alan Boesak? Does anyone remember Beyers Naudé? The church. Why has our church gone silent? Our church has gone silent because they've gone politically correct and they do not want to preach the gospel from Genesis to Revelation. They are compromising the gospel, which is compromising the people to accept what is evil is good. God bless our nation. God save our nation. And God bless South Africa.